Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is divestment with purpose, and you have arrived. Hello, ladies. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. And just a little update. I'm still working on the Pearly Things video, which will go up on Sunday. Time to be announced. But anyway, I wanted to share this viral video with you of this conversation about slavery. Now, I'm not on TikTok, nor am I a TikToker, but I found this conversation by accident and thought, well, let me share this with the ladies and see what they have to say. I found this to be very interesting. And I don't know who these people are, but they are both so-called trans women, right? Biological males. And honestly, the things that came out of the blonde's mouth aren't surprising to me at all. The continuation of disrespect towards Black people in America should not be surprising to anyone at this point. The level of disrespect towards Black people in this country that is slowly being pushed is bothersome. I wonder if this XY would have the same views on the chosen people because he referenced Matt Walsh in this video as a source of information. You see, I used to be subscribed to Matt Walsh, but at some point in time, due to his views on slavery, I had to let that subscription go. Clearly, this male listens to him, and they are both equally problematic. Anyway, without further ado, here's the video.
If we go back like a couple hundred years, it was pretty normal to own slaves. Is that right or correct?
Why are we talking about slavery?
Because I'm showing you why the ad populum fallacy is a logical fallacy.
Honestly, back then, a lot of Black people participated in the slave trade themselves, so...
Yeah, that doesn't make slavery right. Are you trying to defend slavery?
It was a product of the time, dude.
Are you trying to defend slavery?
Did you not see Matt Walsh's new video on this topic?
I did, and I think that defending slavery is cringe as
defending slavery, but I think we're illogical if we didn't realize that a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves back when slavery was a thing.
Well, how do you know that Black people enjoyed being slaves?
I mean, it's just in history. I've read about a lot of Black people not only participated in capturing slaves, but a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves. Because of course, when you're really? Brought up doing something like being a slave your whole life, it's all you know. I'm sure a lot of slaves probably enjoyed it and were happy because that's the only lifestyle they were aware of.
That's crazy.
Can you not think like that? Is it really that dense?
I have never heard of somebody enjoying having to work countless hours on a plantation, being dehumanized and whipped and told that they're not human and being beaten within an inch of their life and being
saying that.
I don't think that people enjoy that.
You can't deny the fact that there were probably slave owners that, just like there were really bad ones, there were probably slave owners that probably treated their slaves really nice too, right? You're not thinking logically. You're being so dense.
So I'm just going to say that in general, I think it's wrong to own humans.
Of course. We're not in that time period anymore.
But you're defending slavery.
I'm not defending it. I'm saying it was a product of the time.
You said that Black people enjoy being slaves.
I think there were probably a good majority of Black people who back then were born and raised as slaves, probably because that's the only thing they knew. It was the environment they grew up in. If they had a slave owner who treated them well, they probably enjoyed their lives, a few of them. I think it's illogical to believe that every person who was a slave back then hated their life. I truly think that's illogical. I do.
I'm pretty sure that being owned is not a good thing.
Because you grew up in this generation and this is what you've been taught. And we know these things now.
No,
but back then,
not just because
those societal standards were not created yet.
Not just because I grew up in this generation, but because I can think logically and morally on this topic and why it is unfair to own another human based off of their birth as having like a certain skin color, for example. That's unfair.
I'm pretending
and
like I'm saying it's
illogical.
okay to own slaves now, because that's not what I'm insinuating.
You are defending slavery.
I'm not defending it. I'm just giving you the facts. Aren't you all about facts over feelings?
Yeah, and I believe that slavery is immoral.
Right. And I do too. But the fact was, back then, I think you're illogical if you think that some of them didn't enjoy being slaves or enjoy their lives.
Why would anyone enjoy being a slave?
That's the environment you grew up in. That's all you've ever known. So if you grew up in that environment and you have a slave owner who treats you well, that's just all they know. So they probably were happy about it. They didn't know freedom. Why is it so hard for you to understand this?
What does like a slave owner treating their slave well look like?
I mean, back then, I'm sure some of them, I'm pretty sure they fed them, right? Or probably that like they weren't whipping anybody or like not tormenting anyone. Just like, I don't have like specific details for you.
Okay. As long as you're working inhumane hours on plantations, but you're being fed, then that's a good thing.
Again, I'm not saying slavery was a good thing. You're not going to like try to make it seem like that's what I'm saying, because I don't know what you want me to say. If you want to believe that every person back then who was a slave hated their life, go for it.
And this is why it angers me when the rainbow community tries to latch on to the pain and suffering of Black people in this country. Their aim is to try and benefit from some of the laws that have been passed, like the civil rights laws that give them certain rights or certain privileges, due to the groundwork laid down by the same Black people who, quote unquote, enjoyed slavery. The person who brought up this conversation in the first place knew exactly what they were doing by talking about slavery. They were absolutely aware of the fact that it would garner up a lot of attention and outrage, which would falsely highlight them as forward-thinking and caring, when the only thing that they care about is the clout that this conversation brought to their page. As for the blonde biological male, if he thinks Black people enjoyed slavery, then I hope he achieved his goal with that filth and mental masturbation he enacted upon. I hope it was worth it.
About instances of like when they initially freed the slaves, there were some slaves that felt so indebted to their owners that they would travel across states to pay them back, and they actually had a really good relationship with them.
On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, divest like a butterfly, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, diamonds.